Good morning, everybody. J.R. Fisher here. Good to see you here. What's that first comment we got there? Do we get to learn how we can get a share of Twitter too? Yes, buy the stock. That's what you should do. Buy the stock. Good morning, everybody. Great to see you. I haven't been here in a while. I was scheduled to be in New Orleans. I was supposed to leave last Friday and get back on Tuesday, which meant I couldn't do my Friday live or my Monday live. And on Friday, my wife woke up with a fever of 101, and she looked at me and she says, "We can't go." I was like, "Oh no." We had bought airfare. We had bought a hotel room that was one block off Bourbon Street. I was meeting a friend of mine from Memphis who has been my friend since I was 14 years old. So it was an important trip. And on top of all that, it was non-refundable. So I was paying for a hotel room that I wasn't going to sleep in and an airfare that I couldn't go on. So I lost thousands of dollars. But you know what? It's okay. There's a reason why we couldn't go. I don't know what the reason was. And we certainly missed out on that trip. We would have liked to have gone. We'll go another day. But today I'm going to talk about how to make yourself worth at least $2,000 an hour. It's something I've done. That was my last consulting fee, was $2,000 an hour. Which was not bad, but I don't want to do it anymore because I can make more money doing other things. And I know that sounds insane, but I want to walk you through the process today. I want to share with you some things that you may not realize that can really increase your value. And in addition to that, there is something that Elon Musk has that is really pretty secretive, and people see it, but they don't notice it. And if you want to put it in that chat box, if you think you figured out what Elon Musk's secret is, put it in that chat box right there. Throughout this whole session today, I want you to keep putting ideas in there about what you think he has. And I'm going to share with you what it is at the very end because I figured it out. I've studied him a lot. I bought Tesla stock. I just follow him. I have a deposit on one of the trucks. I think he's a pretty amazing person. And you can, love him or hate him or whatever you want. I think most people actually love him. But put in that chat box what you think he has. What is it that differentiates him from everybody else? And in the meantime, I'm going to talk about how you can make yourself worth $2,000 an hour. This is not something that is like touchy-feely and all this stuff. These are real, tangible things you can do. And I got to tell you, I didn't start out making a lot of money. When I was in high school, I was a dishwasher. I worked at Victoria Station on, I think it was Mendenhall in Memphis, Tennessee. And I got $1.65 an hour, $1.65 an hour. Now, I really liked that job. Now, you may think that's a terrible job, but I really liked it, and we had this big sprayer things, and they made these prime ribs. And when the prime rib pan would come back, and it was about yay big, it was probably about 2.5 feet long and probably 1.5 feet wide, I guess, something like that. And it would be all crusted with the prime rib they had cooked in it, and I would have to spray it down. And when I did, pieces of that would go flying everywhere. It'd be all over the front of me. And I didn't mind. I didn't mind because somebody was giving me $1.65 an hour, and I thought, wow, they're giving me money to be here. And I felt so privileged to have that job. And understand I came from a very poor household, a bad neighborhood. But the point was somebody was giving me money. And at that point, and I didn't realize that I realized it, but at that point, I realized that I had a value. I had value to me. Nobody had ever just given me money before. And I had mowed lawns and done all that kind of stuff, but nobody had ever said, if you show up here, we will give you money. And it wasn't the amount of money. It was the fact that somebody would give me money that I had value. Okay, I had value. I remember the first time I sold something online, and I was a single dad, and my kids were in the living room, and I came running in from my bedroom. I'm like, I sold something online. Oh my God, I sold something online. I was so excited. And they were like, well, how much did you sell? And I said, $10. And they were like, $10? They were like, that's not a lot of money, Dad. I said, that's not the point. The point is somebody gave me money online. Now, as of this morning, before I even came into the living room, I had looked at my sales, and I was around $2,900, which is a little bit slow in the morning, but it'll pick up during the day. And that's my retail sales, where somebody's spending $150, $200, whatever. But I was at a little over $2,800. And I have a client now that spends $50,000 to $100,000 a week. That's one of my clients. So, that doesn't include the other orders I get online. But I started out at $1.65 an hour. So I don't know where you're at. I don't know where you're at. I have no idea what your income level is. I have no idea how much money you're making. I have no idea what your talents are. I don't know any of that. But the thing I do know is that it doesn't matter at what point you start at. It's irrelevant where you start. Starting is just getting going. Okay. Do we get to learn? Okay, I did that comment there. Do we get to learn how to get a share of Twitter too? So in this session today, I'm going to share with you some things that you need to acquire to make $2,000 an hour or more. I actually make more than that now, but that was a good benchmark. That was one of my coaching clients that paid me that. Let me get a sip here real quick. So here's the deal. First off, I'm going to tell you something that I think is really immensely important. And you can find exceptions to this rule, but you'll enjoy the journey a whole lot more if you adopt this one thing. And that is control your temper. Control your temper. Paul says knowing your value is key. Yeah, and I'm going to get into that value thing in just a second because that's a very interesting subject. But you got to control your temper. If you learn to stay cool, if you learn to not get heated, you will be more successful. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is kind of take a checkup from the neck up and say, what is my temper level? Is it like when little things happen to me, do I just go off the chain? Do I explode? Is people scared to be around me? Do people scatter? Is it an explosive situation? Or does nothing bother me whatsoever? Which I guess would be a 1, and a 10 would be that explosive type thing. But bottom line is you need to control your temper, because if you have this really high level of temper, you're not going to be able to think logically. You're not going to be able to make good decisions because you're going to be reacting on emotions. And you can't react on emotions if you want to make a lot of money. You can't do it. That's not to say that there aren't some very wealthy people that lose their temper all the time, because there are. But they're not enjoying the journey, right? They're not doing as well as they could be doing. And don't forget to put in that chat section what you think Elon Musk's secret power is, because he has a secret power and we see it every day, but we don't necessarily pinpoint it and say, oh my God, look at that, he's got that. But put that in the chat box there if you would. But one of his secret powers, I think, is that you don't ever see him getting pissed off. Okay, he never gets mad. He's a very calm person. He's a very chill person. And I think that is one of his talents. And it's certainly one of the talents on the list that I'm talking about today is that you've got to learn how to control your temper. You've just got to do that. Now, the next thing I want to tell you is not to look at the world and say, what does the world have to offer me? In other words, what does that job pay me out there? What can I get over here? What are they going to give me over there? That's not the way to get ahead. That's not the way to make a lot of money. The way to make a lot of money is to ask yourself instead, what can I offer the world? So let me rephrase this one more time. Don't say, what can the world offer me? Instead, ask, what can I offer the world? What do I have to give the world? Now, some of you may be listening to this and go, gosh, I don't have anything. I don't have any talents. I don't know much. I haven't done much. Then change that. Change that. Learn more, do more, accomplish more. Just go do something. I was posting today in Facebook, because every now and then I get an idea to post something on Facebook. Not too often do I come up with something I think's great, but I think it was pretty interesting that we need to enjoy ourselves because it's getting late. Enjoy yourself. It's getting late. It's later than you think, I think is what I put. And it is later than you think. And this can be at any age. And this doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to die tomorrow. Okay, that's not what this saying means. When I say enjoy yourself because it's later than you think, what I mean is, when are you going to start enjoying yourself? Are you going to start enjoying yourself when you're 18? Or are you going to start enjoying yourself when you're 40? Or when you're 75? Or when you're 90? At what point are you going to make that decision? Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. So that is a big factor into making your value worth more. People are going to want to be around you more if you have a good disposition. Now, remember I said a minute ago, some people will just blow up, they'll just go crazy. And when they go crazy like that, people scatter. So what they've done in effect is people have left their circle. Okay, they've left, or at least for a temporarily period of time. They don't want to be around them. They don't want to be around this person. And you need other people. I used to think I could do everything on my own, and I cannot. I cannot do everything on my own. As a matter of fact, most of the things I've accomplished are because people wanted to work with me and wanted to be with me and wanted to help me. And I've gotten a lot of that help, and that's helped me be successful. So do you have people who look at you and go, gosh, I want to be around that person. I want to spend time with that person. I like that person. Or do you have one of those dispositions where they're like, man, I'm going to stay out of his way. I'm going to stay out of her way. She goes off the rails, man. I don't even want to be around her. Is that what the vibe that you're putting out? Now, the next thing I'm going to talk to you about is, when we started this whole thing, it was about $2,000 an hour type thing. And don't forget to put in the chat section, what is that superpower that Elon Musk has that a lot of us see every day, but we don't ever really notice it? What is that superpower? Okay, so put that in there. I think that's super important that you do that. But we got to start thinking about our time, okay? And when I say we got to start thinking about our time, what I mean by that is, where are we spending that time? Where are we spending it? Tom Chapman says, Elon Musk applies to a lot of common sense type reasoning and thus leaves a lot of folks in the dust. It's not all about him. That's a really good point. It's not the one I'm asking for, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. I think it's right. As a matter of fact, that's a very good point. He does think very logically. And in addition to that, another thing he does, I think, is that he cares outside himself, just like what you said. He cares about improving the world. He cares about making the world a better place. You can adopt some of this, guys. You can adopt this. You can start caring about the world. And I'm not saying go join Greenpeace and, do protests and stuff like that. But what are you doing? What are you putting out in the world that you think will help other people? Right now, I'm doing this video because I'm hoping that I'm going to help some other people. I'm hoping that some of this will resonate with some of you guys. Paul says, looks like Elon having an interesting week with trial. He always has an interesting week, doesn't he? He always has an interesting week. There's always something going on with Elon. I don't know what it is, but there's something always going on. But if you think about it, he's involved in a lot of things. So there's going to be stuff going on, right? He's involved in stuff that, some of us don't get involved in stuff. So we're not going to have a very interesting week. So when I say think about your time, I want you to categorize it into entertainment, friends, family, and work. Entertainment, friends, family, and work. It's really important that you look at these things. It's really important that you look at these things. We all, as human beings, need some form of entertainment. We don't, as human beings, need entertainment every single day of the week. Though some of us do get entertainment every single day of the week because we come home and we watch TV for 4 or 5 hours, okay? Or we'll listen to podcasts of other people for hours a day. That's entertainment. Or we'll go to a game, or we'll go to a movie, or we'll go to a concert. That's all entertainment. In itself, none of these things are wrong. However, if you spend an inordinate amount of time on just entertainment, then you're going to sacrifice part of your life. And I'm going to get to that in just a second, that sacrifice thing. So I want you to think about, how much time do you spend enjoying entertainment? What, playing video games, whatever it is that's entertainment to you. In other words, it's not creating for the rest of the world. It's just the world giving you some entertainment. The next category is friends. Friends are important. I think they're vastly important. However, I want you to look at your friends. I want you to see your friends, who they are. And I'm going to keep going back to Elon Musk. I don't know how much time he spends on entertainment, but it's probably not a lot. He probably spends some time on that, but it's probably not a lot, because he understands that if you spend too much time on entertainment, you don't get anything accomplished. And let's look at friends now. What kind of friends do you have? How much time do you spend with your friends? What do you do with your friends? Do you do productive things with your friends? I would say most of the friends I have are productive friends. Okay, so we're involved in digital marketing. We're involved in selling stuff online. We're involved in going to the gym. We work out together. So, I have several friends that I've met at the gym here where I moved to in Texas, and we'll talk, but we're there accomplishing something that may be just maintaining our health. Okay, I was at the gym yesterday, and I have certain things I do. Yesterday, I did push-ups. I did curls of dumbbells. I did lat pull-downs, and I did treadmill. And that was what I did yesterday. And I did my stretching. Of course, I did my stretching. Now, how much did I do of each one of those? I'll run you through this real quick so you know what I did. And I'm talking to my friends at the same time I did it. I did push-ups. I did 15 minutes of push-ups. So what I did is every minute on the minute, I did 15 push-ups, okay? So if you multiply that out, that's 225 push-ups. And that is, I think, a decent amount. Is it all I could do? No. So I need to push that a little bit more. I can push that a little bit more by doing two things. And I was at 16 minutes, and I'll explain to you why I'm at 15 now, because I was doing less push-ups at that 16-minute interval and doing close to the same number of push-ups. So what I did, I think I was doing like 13, and at the end I was doing 20 or 25. Anyhow, it added up to 220, 225 push-ups. So I said, well, I don't want to invest any more time in this, so I need to invest more effort in this. So I upped it to 15 push-ups at 15 sets, which gave me my 225. So if I want to get more out of that, what I need to do is increase the number that I'm doing on each minute. That way I don't increase the amount of time. After I did that, I did curls. I did curls on each side. I did 30s, 35s, and 40s, where I would lift up, twist, go back down again, and I did 3 sets of those at each of those weights. Then I went over and I did my lat pull down. Oh yeah, and I did my stretching and all that stuff before that. Now this, I think, is kind of entertainment, but it's kind of productive. And then I got on the treadmill, and I think I did 2.5 miles. So that was my workout. Now that took time. That took about 1 hour and 40 minutes out of my day. So when I took that time out of my day, that hour and 40 minutes, it took away from something else. So did it have value? Did it have value? Ask yourself, your friends that you're hanging out with right now, does it have value? Or are those friends valuable? Okay, are they increasing your worth? Are they decreasing your worth? Are your friends negative? If they're negative people, you want to stay away from them. Now, my friend that I just talked about that I was going to go see in New Orleans, we're still friends, and we're still friends because he's a very hardworking person. He owns a grocery store with his brother, which his family has owned for a couple generations, but he branched out from that. And he started building homes, and he's on a project now where he's building 457 homes. He has a mortgage company. He has an electric company. He has a plumbing company, and he uses all those companies to do work on all these homes that he's building. So he's a very hardworking person who is thinking about growing things. So I can hang out with him. He's a great guy to hang out with, right? We think the same way in many different areas. I do have friends from when I was a childhood that I don't hang out with anymore. They've gone in another direction. Maybe they got into drugs, or maybe they got into partying, or maybe they're lazy or whatever. And I had to separate myself from those friends. You need to do the same thing. You need to separate yourself from people who aren't bringing value to you. Okay? You need to separate yourself from people who aren't bringing value to you. Now, some of your friends are going to say, well, gosh, that's not very nice. You've changed. You've changed, and you don't hang out with me anymore. That's exactly right. And we're supposed to change. We're supposed to become better people. But they have a choice too. They can change and come on the journey with you. They can remain your friend. They can start accomplishing things and doing things. And you're going to want to talk to them and hang out with them. Now we get to the one that is very interesting, and that's family. Family, family, family. You can't choose your family. You can't choose your family. However, you can choose how much time you spend with your family. Okay? I think you should spend time with family. And I have my ups and downs with mine, probably just like a lot of you out there. But I have a family member that's left, and I don't have too many, but she's very negative, extremely negative. Always, it's always about her. It's always about her problems and all this. I spend a limited amount of time with her. Love her, and she's a family member and all that, but I can't spend time with somebody who's negative, who is not trying to get ahead, who always complains. I can't do it. It's not good for me, so I don't do that. So you need to look at your family and how much time are you going to spend with them? I'm not saying don't spend time with your family. I'm saying you may want to limit it. You may want to limit it. And then the last thing in these categories here, and it's not the last thing on this training today, but the last thing in this category is your work. What are you doing for a living? And I think a lot of people say, well, I'm a school teacher, or I'm a cashier, or I'm a car salesman, or I'm this, whatever it is. You're not any of those things. Those are the jobs that you're doing right now. That's where you plan to spend some of your time, but that's not who you are. Okay. You are not a job. You never have been a job, which means you can change that at any point you want. You can change who you are. Okay. You can get more knowledge. You can learn new things. You can decide to spend different efforts in these areas. And let me grab some of these comments here. Let's see here. Did I do that one? I did do that one. Let's see, did I do this one? Elon hired best people and delegates well. That's a great guess. And he does that thing. He does that thing, but there's a trait about him. I'll give you a little hint. There's a trait about Elon that you don't see in any other billionaires. There is a trait about Elon that you don't see in any other billionaires. So when I categorize it just now to billionaires, I'm talking about some very successful people, aren't I? They're billionaires. They're billionaires. Oh yeah, and I forgot, guys. Please do me a favor, subscribe, turn that red button to gray. Don't forget to ring the bell. Turn on all bell notifications so you're notified each and every time I go live or if I upload a video. So I had to get that in. That's my little commercial. But he has a trait, and I want you to think about how he acts and walks and what he does every day. What is the trait that Elon has that almost no billionaires have? I don't know of another billionaire that has this trait. So think about that for a second. I'm going to get back to my training here, but just think about what that trait might be, because he definitely has a different trait from other people. So I want you to ask yourself, what are you doing right now? Now, I don't mean that actually right now, okay? Right now, you're on a YouTube live, you're listening to me, and maybe you're not on a live, maybe you're watching this recorded, but the point is you're watching my video. But I want you to ask this question, and I ask this question myself often, and I don't mean like once a month, what are you doing now? I mean like many times a day. What am I doing right now? What am I doing right now? Am I okay with what I'm doing right now? I'm watching, let's say, a sitcom. Okay, I'm watching, well, I don't know, are there sitcoms? Anybody watch them, obviously. Let's say I'm watching a YouTube video in my living room. What am I doing right now? So I'll say, okay, well, I'm watching a YouTube video. What's the YouTube video about? I say, okay, well, it's about the war. It's about the war in Mariupol and what's going on to those poor people that are left there. Now, is this good for me? Is this good for me? I don't know in that case. I'd like to know what's going on, but it's pretty depressing. It's pretty sad. It's pretty horrible. And I can't do anything about it. So I may switch the video I'm watching to a cooking one because it's enjoyable. And I also do cooking videos, and maybe I can learn something from it. Maybe I'll watch a video on marketing, because that's enjoyable and I'll learn something from it. So you got to ask yourself during the day, your time is so important, guys. I can't get this through to you enough. Your time is incredibly important. It may not seem that because you say, well, I don't have anything going on anyhow right now. Oh my goodness. You can make things going on. Okay. You can do things that have value. You can start that book. You can start selling online. You can start making videos. You can start writing a blog. You can make your time valuable. It's you that makes your time invaluable. Okay. So I want you to ask yourself, where are you investing your time right now? Right now, where are you investing your time? You got to ask yourself this question. It's so very important. If I spend time doing this, is it valuable? Now, today is Friday, and we haven't done it in a couple of weeks because my wife's been sick, but we're going to go out on Friday lunch. We have a really cool place we're going today. I'm going to take some pictures of it and show it to you guys. I spend time doing that. Is that valuable? Is that time I spend with my wife valuable? And the answer to that is yes, I think it is valuable. Okay, I think it's so valuable because we have to spend time on, ourselves in our relationship. That's super important. And it's going to be enjoyable. So I'm going to knock out two bases right there. Does that mean we should go out to a nice long lunch 7 days a week? And the answer is no, we shouldn't, because we got to get work done. We have to get other stuff done. But is it okay to allocate some time on that day and, spend time on a relationship? I think it's very important. Now, there are people who never do that. They say, well, I got to work all the time. I want to make money all the time. I'm not going to waste any time on going out on 2-3 hour lunches and just strolling around in the afternoon. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to work. That's their choice. That's what they choose to do. I don't choose to do that. I choose 1 day a week that we go spend some time together. And I'm not saying we don't spend other time together too, because we do, but that is allocated. It's very important to both of us that we do that we spend time on that. Paul's next guest is focused. Man, Paul, you're hitting all around it. You're hitting all around it. And when I say it, you're going to go, oh yeah, he is that. He does do that. This one thing, guys, the other billionaires don't have. I've been studying Elon. He's got a trait that none of them got. Maybe you're going to find a billionaire that's going to demonstrate it to me, but I defy you to show me a billionaire that has this trait that Elon has. It's a pretty amazing trait. It's something I don't see in any other billionaires, not a one of them. Let's see here. What else we got? I'm trying to show this one here. Elon willing to risk everything. Yeah, that's a truism, but I can show you a lot of billionaires that do that. They risk stuff all the time. So that's not the one I'm looking for, but you're getting close. You're getting really close. Okay, so keep those guesses coming. What is it that Elon has? And when you see it, you're going to say, well, gosh, I could do that too. Paul says, making car my classroom on way to Nashville. Awesome. I'm glad you're there, Paul. I appreciate that. I hope you're not typing and driving, though, or maybe you're using talk to text. I don't know. Fill me in. What are you doing there? I don't want you to get hurt. Okay, we don't want that. So we've gone through a lot of these things, and I'm about to reveal what Elon does. But I would add one other thing to you. I want to talk about luck for a second. Luck is something that I've really enjoyed a lot. I've been a very, very lucky person. But here's the thing about luck. You can be a lucky person too. Luck is an unusual thing. And I'm going to talk about some of the habits of lucky people for just a second here. But the first thing you got to do is start telling yourself that you're a lucky person. You got to erase things like, oh my God, I know what's going to happen to me now. Yeah, I won this lottery, but I bet I'm going to get hit with a bunch of taxes. Or yeah, this good thing happened, but that means this bad thing's going to happen. I see this time and time and time again. When they are lucky, they're not even grateful for the luck they have. It's insane. It's insane, guys. So, you want to not only tell yourself you're lucky, and I'm trying to straighten my screen here, but you also want to appreciate the luck that you have. Tell yourself you're a lucky person. My wife and I do this all the time, and we have more and more and more luck. However, you can also create luck. Luck can be created. I want to talk about that real quick before I tell you what Elon's superpower is. Optimism and flexibility are really vital to success in anything, guys. So how optimistic are you? How flexible are you? Were you born under a lucky star or not? Okay, who has told you that you're not lucky? So which is it? Are lucky people born that way, or are they preordained somehow, or do they make their own luck? Different cultures have put faith in a variety of lucky charms and symbols. Think about this. The Chinese think that bamboo is lucky. And you go, oh my God, that's crazy, JR. The Thai people think that white elephants are lucky. The Irish people think that four-leaf clovers are lucky. English people over in Britain, they think horseshoes are lucky. None of this makes any sense. Native Americans think that dream catchers are lucky. Germans, Italians, Russians, and Turks, what do they think is lucky? A ladybug. A ladybug. Okay, what about Americans? You love this, a rabbit's foot. It wasn't lucky for the rabbit, right? Do these symbols really make people lucky, or is there more to this? There's a lot more to this, and I want to fill you in on this in just a second. And keep your guesses coming on that. Nobody has hit on that thing that Elon Musk has that no other billionaire I've seen has. He has a thing, and you see it all the time. And when I say it, you're going to go, oh my God, yes. Yes, I do see that. So keep those guesses coming. But while I've been successful in many ways, I believe it's more a matter of planning, inspired action, a good amount of sweat, rather than rubbing a rabbit's foot. I don't think that's it at all. So the first thing you got to do is kind of be mindful, okay? Mindfulness is really being able to non-judgmentally alert yourself and be aware of what's going on around you. Remember a couple minutes ago, I said, ask yourself throughout the day, what am I doing right now? Why am I doing it? Is it valuable? Ask yourself that question. Be mindful as to what's going on. The next thing I would tell you is you need to be proactive. Okay, you cannot wait for things to happen. You can't wait for good things to come to you. I can't count how many times I would go to a convention or a meeting or a grocery store or shopping, and I would meet somebody, and it was a lucky meeting because I put myself out there. There are proactive rather than reactive type things and they make their future. Are you making your future, or are you waiting for it to come to you? Ask yourself, are you proactive? When you take responsibility for your words, actions, behaviors, you have so much control over your destiny. But when you sit back and go, well, there's nothing I can do about that because they're taxing the crap out of me, and I don't have a good job, and they won't promote me, and they won't. You're just falling into what's going to happen to you. Okay. And you're thinking, well, geez, I wish I could win the lottery or something. That's not luck. That's not luck. Matter of fact, the lottery is a tax for those people who can't do math. Okay, that's what the lottery is. That's not how you want to get your money. And how good are you going to feel about it if you win $1 million versus make $1 million? What making $1 million will make you a different person. Okay. It's going to change who you are. And that's why I tell people, I want you to make $1 million, but I want you to make $1 million, not for the $1 million, but for the fact that it's going to change who you are. Thomas Chapo, I like to think more in terms of being fortunate instead of having luck. There is a difference, but it is subtle. Okay, I'll go along with that. Fortunate, okay, fortune always rains down on me. It does. And that doesn't mean bad things don't happen to me, because bad things happen to me all the time. But what do I do when the bad things happen to me? I remember a number of years ago, we were in San Diego, and I had to go to my warehouse in Utah, and my wife was parked in the driveway and I was parked in the street. And she says, well, I'll give you a ride to the airport. I said, great. So I got my suitcases. We're going outside, and we go to get in her car, and it's gone. And I looked at the empty spot, and I turned to her and I said, okay, your car was stolen. Let's take mine. And she said, and I quote, how do you know that? I said, well, we don't owe any money on it, and it's gone. So I'd say it's stolen. She goes, are you sure? I said, no, I'm sure. I'm very sure. Now, she says, well, that's horrible. I said, no, it's not. And this was the changing point that I think she had. I said, something really good's going to come of this. We don't know what it is right now. We don't know what the good thing is that's going to come out of the fact that your car's stolen and we got to take mine to the airport. But something good's going to come of this. And she looked at me like I was insane. She goes, really? You really believe that? I said, yes, I really do believe that. And she said, okay, I'm going to go along with it. And that, I think, was a turning point for her, where she says, I'm going to start looking at things positively. And she has done that ever since, and she's been a lot more successful. She's felt better about herself. She's taken care of her health. She's taken care of her business. Okay. She's a happier person. When you decide that you're not going to let circumstances change your attitude, that you're going to be the one to change your attitude, then that's when you've got control. That's when you can be successful and make $2,000 an hour. And I keep saying that $2,000 an hour because that's what I charged for coaching my last client. And that was a number of years ago, because I don't really do it anymore. I don't like doing it because they don't work hard enough for me. Really, that's the real truth. And I felt like my rate was just getting higher and higher. But when I started coaching, I was charging like $149 an hour, and then $1,500 an hour. And then it got up to $2,000 an hour. And that was, if you were at 2,000, you had to do a minimum of 30 hours or 40 hours. I can't remember what it was. But I think that particular one was 33 hours. Yeah, because I think it came out to like $66,000 they had to pay for that. But at one point I was worth $1.65 an hour when I was washing dishes at Victoria Station. Remember that? Remember I told you about that in the beginning? That was my value at that point. So the next thing you got to do to be lucky is you have to be an opportunist. Okay. What does that mean? You got to have the ability to take advantage of a novel or often concealed opportunities when they arise. I own a survival food company. I kind of fell into that, but I saw an opportunity and I went after that. Today, it's maybe thousands of dollars already, and I haven't had lunch yet. Many people are blind to opportunities because they don't notice them because they're inflexible. They're stuck in their ways. People who practice opportunism see opportunities all around them. They're able to use them to their advantage. Are you doing that every single day? That's something you got to do. And I'm going to get to Elon's super talent in just a second. Next thing you got to be is insightful. There's two types of knowledge, explicit and implicit, okay? Explicit knowledge is the kind that people gain from reading books and going to school and all that factual stuff. Implicit knowledge is what we achieve through observing and experiencing things you really can't teach. And man, I've learned so much from that in life. Both types of knowledge are really important, but you've got to be both. You've got to do both, okay? I'm actually asking you today to actually think about your life. Think about where you are, what you're doing. Analyze yourself. The next thing is be flexible. Be able to change. Life is dynamic. It's always changing. You know, there was a Greek god guy, and his name was Heraclitus. I think I got that right. Heraclitus. He says, you can't step in the same river twice. What does he mean by that? The river is always changing. It's different, okay? The truth is you can't even step in the same river once, because even as you step in, that river's changing, isn't it? Appreciating the dynamics of life and being able to go through the flow provides enormous advantages to finding new ways to doing things and getting places or creating opportunities. Lucky people are flexible and they take advantage of new situations. I know I've done that over and over again in my business, okay? When things change, I'm flexible. I'm willing to change. You've got to be optimistic, okay? That's the next thing I'll tell you. The optimist believes that this is the best of all possible worlds. Remember a couple of minutes ago, I told you about my wife's car being stolen, and I said, something good's going to come out of this. Well, let me tell you the rest of the story. The car was found. It was totaled, and they didn't total it. They sent it to some shop, and some guy was working on it, and I used to do auto body, and I went over there and looked at it, and he had just totally jacked up this car, and he was messing it up, and we were down. We were like, oh my gosh, and they're going to make us take this horrible car back, and I looked at it and I was like, this is just a terrible situation, but something good's going to come of it. And I kept down that path. Something good's going to come of it. So I finally got the agent to go over and look at what they were doing to the car. When he looked at it, he says, oh my gosh, yeah, that's not really good. Let's send it to another shop. So I called around a whole bunch of other shops, and I found this one shop, and I told the guy what was going on with the car. He said, well, if you get the car over here, I'll look at it. And if it is truly a total car, I will total it and tell your insurance company that. So I got the car over to him, and since I knew auto body and I knew the damage of this car, and it had been smoked in, it had drugs in it, they found it with weapons and people's social security numbers. I mean, it was a wreck, okay, literally. And I got it over there, and he looked at it. He says 100% of this car is total. It cannot be fixed properly and put back in the condition it was. And keep in mind, the car had 15,000 miles on it. So then there was that thing about how much was the insurance company going to give me? Now, I could have been negative, and I was for a second. I said, well, I'm ready to fight. You know, I'm gonna argue for what this car is worth. And I had a value that I thought the car should be worth. And the insurance company came back with a value, and it was way above what I thought it was worth. And I looked at her and I said, look at this. We got a lot more money for your car than what it's worth. And she went out and she bought another car that was much nicer, that she liked much better. Now, this was a period of probably about 3 or 4 months between the time it got stolen and the time she got her new car and the one that she liked better. But something good came out of the fact that her car got stolen. Something good came out of it. You've got to be optimistic, guys. You cannot be negative. Being negative won't work. And have we figured out, let's see here, have we figured out what Elon Musk's super talent is? Making car, okay. Thomas, so let me get over here to your comment, Thomas. I'll put that on the screen here real quick so everybody can enjoy your wisdom. All right, that's the wrong screen. Let me get to the right screen. There it is. And he says, I like to think more in terms of being, okay, yeah, I did put that up there. That's the fortunate one. I did put up there. And guys, keep the guesses coming. I'm getting ready to reveal Elon Musk's super talent. And, you know, you still have an opportunity to, you know, put it what it is. And you also got to think out of the box, guys. Think about things differently. When I started my company, Survivalcave Food, and I said I was going to do canned meats and sell them as survival foods, everybody thought I was insane. They looked at me like I was insane. They don't look at me that way now. They want to know how I did that. They want to know how I thought that thing up. So you've got to be creative. And then the last thing is you got to be resilient. Transform limiting problems into motivating challenges. Take advantage of new situations. Several of history's most famous inventors found thousands of ways not to do something before they finally figured out how to do it. Were they lucky? No, most people wouldn't think so. Obviously, these individuals were very bright, but they were a lot of bright people in the world. What made these people different was their resilience, the fortitude to continue no matter how many failures they had. I've had so many failures, I can't count them at this point. And I fail all the time, and I'll fail tomorrow. Thomas Edison actually said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. What? There are splatters and bouncers, okay? Splatterers crush it when they fall. Well, bouncers are resilient. You need to be a bouncer, okay? And now, I want you to think about this. When you say yes to anything, that you're going to go somewhere, you're going to do something, you're going to be somebody, whatever it is. When you say yes to something, you're also saying no to something else. So if you say yes, like today I'm saying yes, we're going to go out to lunch and we're going to eat at this nice place, I'm saying no to working. I'm saying no to working on my book. I'm saying no to creating videos. I'm saying no to a lot of things. Now, the flip side of this is when you say no to one thing, you're also saying yes to another. If that friend of yours says, let's go to happy hour, and you say, no, I'm going to go work on a book I've been working on. I'm going to go start a book that I've been thinking about starting. You're saying yes to something else. So understand these yes-no decisions that you do every single day, these yes-no decisions have an immense effect on the future of your life because you're doing them every day. You know, it's not like I'm telling you need to start doing yes-no decisions. You're already doing them. You're already doing yes-no decisions. You may not be answering these yes-no decisions. You may not be analyzing these yes-no decisions. You're just doing them without thinking. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to implore you today to think about these things. If you put into practice all these things that I gave you today, you could make $2,000 an hour. You could make $10,000. You could make all kinds of money if you want to, but you've got to do these things that I told you about today. And the big reveal, are you ready for it? The big reveal of what Elon Musk's super talent is. Are you ready for it? No other billionaires I've ever seen have this super talent. Not a one of them have this super talent. Show me one if you can find it. He has a sense of humor and he's funny. He has a sense of humor and he's funny. He has the Model S, the Model 3, the Model X, and the Model Y. What does that spell? Sexy. Have you ever seen some of the tweets he's done? When he became the richest man in the world, a reporter cornered him and said, Elon, do you realize that today you have become the richest man in the world? And you know what he replied? He says, that's weird. Oh, well, back to work. That's what he replied. Would you have a sense of humor at that point, or would you just be overwhelmed? The man has a sense of humor. If you have a sense of humor, it's going to carry you a long way. And I'll tell you this, no matter how rich you become or how much money you make, if you have a sense of humor, you're going to enjoy the ride. Elon, I think, is enjoying the ride. He does say he works a lot, but man, he's got a sense of humor. Do you see Warren Buffett with a sense of humor? Bill Gates with a sense of humor? Steve Jobs, sense of humor? I don't think so. They're all great guys. They've all done a lot. What's the guy? Jeff Bezos, sense of humor? Oh, come on. There ain't nothing funny about him. Well, I mean, if you look at him, well, I'm not going to get into looks, but the point is Elon Musk, on top of all this stuff, has a sense of humor. He can laugh at himself. He can laugh at others. He's witty. He tries to be funny. He has a sense of humor. Guys, don't lose your sense of humor. That's what's going to get you through everything. That's what's going to make the bad situations better and the good situations great. Have a sense of humor. I want to leave you with that today. Put in that chat section. Do you have a sense of humor? Are you working on your sense of humor? It's something you can do. Matter of fact, if you don't have a great sense of humor, Google it. Say, how do I have a great sense of humor? And there's going to be ways to do that. There's going to be videos. There's going to be lists. There's going to be guides on how to have a good sense of humor. Adapt that one thing. If you adapt nothing else from this training today, and everything else will fall into place much easier. If you have a sense of humor, and you try to look at things humorously, and you try to look at things funny, which is what he does on a daily basis. He tries to do all that. He had a car that was making fart sounds. He would make the car make fart sounds, okay? What grown man is going to even think about that runs a car company? I think that's hilarious. I think that's great. I think that's what makes him great. I think that's what makes him a cool person, is having a sense of humor, okay? Try to do that. Try to do these other things. If you found this training useful today, please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn it from red to gray, and don't forget to ring the bell. Turn on all bell notifications. Let's see here. Okay. And if you have any other comments or suggestions, put them in the chat box now while we're live. If this is not live when you're watching it, put it in the comments section below. Feel free to ask me questions. Feel free to ask me anything you want. Feel free to share with me your life experiences. Do you have a sense of humor? Are you working on getting a sense of humor? Have you done any of the other things? List some of them in that comment section below that I've talked about today. Guys, this stuff is so very important, and it's going to make you enjoy your life a whole lot better. And like I said earlier in this training, enjoy yourself. It's a lot later than you think. You guys have a great day. I'll see you Monday morning.